Good day! Welcome to our English 9 class. I am your teacher, Ma'am Sam. On your screen, I will show to you 5 different activities being done by different children. You're going to observe and notice what are the actions that they are doing. So can you please identify each of them from left to your right? All right. The first activity is singing. All right. The second activity is playing. Okay. The third activity is painting. And the last activity being done by these children. Okay. It is running. So to summarize it all, the children are singing, playing, painting, and running. Okay, since you already found out the activities being done by these children, can you now notice what are the similarities or what is the similarity among the words you can find on your screen? All right, so all these words have ing after a verb. So playing, painting, singing, and running have ing. Since these words have ing, are you having an idea now what would be our topic for today? All right. So for today, we're going to talk about gerunds. That's right. Gerund is our quarter 3 module 2 for this English 9. So now that you're ready, let's proceed. Let's have first the lesson objectives. In this lesson, we have 4 objectives that we need to achieve right after the discussion. So the first objective is to identify gerunds and gerund phrases. The second objective is to appreciate the use of gerunds through written and oral activities. The third objective is to construct sentences using gerund. And the last objective is to identify the functions of gerunds in a sentence. So right after our discussion, you are expected to achieve all these lesson objectives. Let's have a pretest to identify if you already have a prior knowledge about the lesson that we're going to talk about today. So what we're going to do in this activity is that we're just going to fill in the gaps with the appropriate form of the verbs in the parentheses. So we have here 5 sentences. Inside the parentheses, we have verbs. So you're just going to fill in the blanks with the appropriate form of that verb inside the parentheses. So let's start with the first sentence. I can't stand blank in kiss. What is the appropriate form of the verb? All right, it is waiting. How about number 2? Jim loves blank in Palawan. The words inside the parentheses are to work. All right, it is working. How about number 3? In the end, we decided blank in. The words are to stay. What is the appropriate form of the verb? Correct. It is staying. How about number 4? Claire refused blank clean up after the party. What is the appropriate form of the verb to be filled in the blank? Is helping. And number 5, my parents like blank for long walks at the weekend. It is to go. What is the appropriate form of this verb? Okay, the answer is going. Alright, so let me define gerunds first. Gerunds are words ending with ing that are formed with verbs but act as nouns. So we might get confused because there are also words with ing but its function is not a noun but its function is a verb. So don't you worry because we're going to discuss also what is the difference of a word with ing as a verb or the word with ing as a noun. So let's have this. What's the difference between verb and noun with ing? Okay, so let's first have the verb. Here, it is used as present participle. And of course, since it is functioning as a verb, and so therefore, it is a verb. So example of verb with ing that functions as a verb is in this sentence. We have Pam is teaching. So in here, we're talking about what Pam is doing or what is the action being done by Pam. So since it is talking about the action being done by the subject, so therefore teaching here is not a noun, but teaching here is a verb. So it is not a gerund. Okay? However, it is functioning as a noun if a gerund. How can we identify if it is a gerund? We can identify if a gerund or a word with ing is a gerund if it is functioning as a noun. Example sentence here is teaching is fun. So here we are going to answer what is fun. So since it will answer the question what, and so therefore it is a noun. So since the word with ing here is a noun, and so therefore it functions as a gerund. Okay? So I hope everything would be clear to you. What is the difference between word with ing as a verb and word with ing as a noun? Okay, so let's now proceed to the further discussion of gerund. So if we are going to discuss gerund, we should also include the gerund phrase. Gerund phrase is actually a gerund too, but it is created when a gerund has a modifier, object, or both. So gerunds are words with ing that functions as a noun. However, gerund phrase are also words with ing that functions as a noun, but it just includes a modifier, object, or both. Okay, so let us not get confused with gerund and gerund phrase because they are just the same. They are both part of gerund. So since we already know the definition of gerund and gerund phrase, let's now identify what are the possible functions of gerund in a sentence. So we're going to discuss the functions of gerunds in a sentence. First, proceed to the most common. It is the subject. All right. So when we say gerund as a subject, it is functioning as a subject and it is talking what is the sentence all about. So again, it answers the question, what is the sentence all about? Okay. So let's try to use our examples to identify how it happened that the gerund here is a subject. Example number one is this. Cycling is good for your health. So since we're going to talk about what the sentence is all about, so in here, what the sentence is all about. Correct. It is all about cycling. So since cycling is the subject, so therefore, since the cycling is the gerund, and so therefore, since cycling answers the question what the sentence is all about, so in this sentence, cycling is functioning as a subject. Okay? So how about in the second sentence? Riding motorcycle makes me nervous. All right. So what the sentence is all about? Yes, it is all about riding motorcycle. So therefore, what is the function of the gerund here in this sentence? So our gerund is riding. So since it talks about what the sentence is all about, therefore the function of the gerund riding here is a subject. And since riding motorcycle is the subject of the sentence, and so therefore that is our gerund phrase. Okay, so the subject here is gerund phrase. So do you have any question regarding this? I hope that you already understand what and how it happened that gerund here functions as subject. Okay, so let's proceed to the second function. The second function is the direct object. In here, it also answers the question what. So it's like in the gerund as a subject, it also answers the question what. But what is the difference between subject and direct object? So let us find it out on our example. So let's use our example sentence here. Okay, the first example is Jana enjoys cooking. So what is our gerund in this sentence? All right, the gerund in this sentence is cooking. So therefore, how it happened that it answers the question what? So the question here would be what Jana enjoys. So what is the answer? Cooking. So therefore, cooking here as a gerund functions as a direct object because it answers the question, what? Okay, how about number two sentence? Mark avoided washing the dishes. So let us try to find out if this sentence or the gerund in this sentence functions as a direct object. So it answers the question what? What Mark avoided or what Mark avoids. So Mark avoided what? Yes, washing the dishes. The gerund here is washing the dishes, but the gerund phrase here is, the gerund here is washing, but the gerund phrase is washing the dishes. And so therefore, how are we going to differentiate direct object and subject as a function of the gerund? So in direct object, our best cue or clue would be the gerund is always found right after verbs. So in our two sentences, what are the verbs before the gerund? All right, the verbs are enjoys and avoided. So since enjoys and avoided functions as a verb, and so therefore the gerunds here, cooking and washing, is really an example of gerund as direct object. So it answers the question what, but the best clue and how it differs from the subject is that in direct object, the gerund is found after a verb. Let's now have number three function. The third function is the subject complement. So in subject complement, it can be used after linking verbs. And it complements the subject of the sentence. Before we proceed to our examples, let's first identify what are the linking verbs. Can you identify what are the linking verbs? All right, the linking verbs are am, is, are, was, and were. So those five are our linking verbs. Again, they are am, is, are, was, and were. So if the gerund is found right after those five linking verbs, so therefore it is functioning as a subject complement. So let's try to look at our examples here on the screen. So the first one is that his talent is dancing. So what is our linking verb here? Alright, the linking verb here is the word is. So since this is a linking verb, and so therefore our gerund here in this sentence is the word, alright, the word dancing. So the word dancing or the gerund dancing is found after the linking verb is. And so therefore the function of the gerund is a subject complement. Okay, so since it is found after a linking verb, the function of the gerund here is a subject complement. Let us always remember that if the gerund is found after any of the linking verbs, it is a subject complement. How about in this second example? One of his duties was feeding the dogs. So what is our linking verb here? All right, the linking verb that we have here is the word was. And of course, the gerund is feeding. So feeding is found right after the linking verb was. And so therefore, it is functioning as a subject complement. Okay, so again, in order to find out if the gerund functions as a subject complement, it should be found right after any of the five linking verbs, and those are is, are, was, and were. Okay? Do you understand? All right. So let's now proceed to the fourth function of the gerund, which is the oh, I forgot. Feeding the dogs is our gerund phrase. Okay. So number four function is the object of preposition. So the gerund must be an object of preposition when it comes after a preposition. So if a gerund is coming after a preposition, and so therefore it is called an object of preposition. So let's find it out to our or with our example sentences. The first example is here. I did my homework before going out. So what is our gerund in this sentence? All right. The gerund in this sentence is the word going. And so, since the definition of object of preposition in gerund's function is that they come after a preposition, and so therefore, what is the preposition that we have in this sentence? So the gerund is going. So what is our preposition? Yes, the preposition here is the word before. Okay. How about this second sentence? Jenny is good at singing songs. So what is our gerund or gerund phrase? Okay, our gerund or gerund phrase is singing or singing song. So what is our preposition here? So the gerund comes after a preposition. So what is our preposition here? Yes, that's right. It is the word at or the preposition at. Okay, so remember that a gerund is an object of preposition if it is found after a preposition. Okay, so that would be our best clue to find out if the gerund is an object of the preposition. Okay, so let's now have the last function, and most of the time our favorite. It is the appositive. In appositive, it is noun renaming another noun. So what do we mean by that? It's like we are giving an emphasis to the first noun given. So most of the time, that noun is actually the subject. So let's try to have our examples. Okay, so aside from it is renaming another noun, commonly a positive is found in between two commas. So if the gerund is found between two commas, and so therefore it is an appositive. So let's have the first example. My only exercise, walking, makes me feel better. So what is our gerund here? Yes, it is the word walking. So the word walking here is a gerund because it renames the subject my only exercise. So it gave emphasis to my only exercise, or it's like it gave an example or an specific only exercise. Okay, and also it is in between two commas. So we have a comma after the word exercise and a comma after the word walking. So how about the sentence number two? Okay, my favorite hobby, watering plants, takes a great effort. So what is our gerund or gerund phrase here? Yes, our gerund or gerund phrase here is watering. The gerund phrase is watering plants. So, my watering plants functions as a positive because it also renames the noun given, which is my favorite hobby. Also, it is in between two commas. So, aside from that, for us to identify if the gerund is in a positive or if a word is in a positive, it can be removed to a sentence. So once that word is removed in a sentence, the sentence is still complete without that or those words. Okay, example in number one, I'm going to remove the gerund walking. So the sentence now is this: my only exercise makes me feel better. Is the sentence still complete without the gerund being deleted? Yes, the sentence is still complete even if that appositive is no longer there. How about in the second sentence? Let us remove watering plants. So the sentence now is this: my favorite hobby takes a great effort. So is this sentence is still a complete sentence? Yes or no? Alright, the sentence is still a complete sentence, even if the appositive is no longer there. We have five examples of functions of gerund. So before we proceed to the guided practice, let us review the five functions of a gerund in a sentence. So we have subject, which is answering the question what. Direct object answers the question what, but found after a verb. Subject complement, it is found after the linking verbs. Object of preposition, it is found after prepositions. And a positive, it is renaming the subject or a noun, wherein commonly it is between two commas, and it even if we remove it in the sentence is still complete in thought.